It's a good morning to you. Welcome to Asake Online. My name is Zenzeren Ndebele. This is the Breakfast Club. Every day we meet, we talk about current affairs. We talk about issues that are happening in our communities. I know there is a lot of talk these days about by-elections that are going on, the excitement, the voting, the campaigning. But besides voting, there is a lot that is going on. My worry is that our leaders or our politicians seem to be wanting to create a law for everything. There is an amendment bill this, an amendment bill that, and the new constitution that we celebrated a few years ago seems to be really a deliberate effort to curtail all the freedoms that are enshrined in our constitution. There's been public hearings and a lot of talk and debate about the NGO amendment bill, and I sometimes see some people very excited, thinking that the coming in of this bill will fix a few people or will ban NGOs. And the question is, by the way, who benefits from all these things, and who really is the end beneficiary of the resources or the monies or the projects that come through NGOs? And we will know, and very soon, if this bill is passed, they shall be gnashing of teeth. And those who are employed, most of the times, they can always get a job somewhere. But what about those who are benefiting from these services? Today, in our program, we are joined by Dr. Norman Matara. He is the Secretary General for the Zimbabwe Association of Doctors for Human Rights, and we'll be talking about another amendment or an amendment bill that is being proposed. That is the Health Services Amendment Bill. This is another piece of legislation that tries or is trying to bring in some serious changes in the health sector. And many analysts and many people have said in a big way it is going to affect the rights of health workers and probably impact on service delivery in the health sector as well. And we want to hear from him. What does the bill entail, and what is their reaction to this bill? Doctor, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Senzele.
I just gave the introduction by the so many bills and so many amendments that are being introduced by the government, but mainly to control. That's what we have seen. What is this Health Services Amendment Bill all about?
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah, so the Health Services Amendment Bill, we actually have what we call the Health Services Act, which was enacted as an Act of Parliament in 2005. So this Health Services Act, it was established mainly by the government as an attempt to try and solve the challenges that the health sector was facing. The health sector was part of the Public Service Commission, but the government saw that the health sector had some peculiar challenges that were unique to the health sector. So they tried to take away the health sector from the Public Service Commission, and they established what they called the Health Services Act, which saw the establishment of the Health Services Board. So the Health Services Board was tasked with the mandate to try and solve the challenges in the health sector in terms of health worker migration, health worker salaries, try to fund for resources to finance the health sector. So from 2005 up to now to 2022, the health sector has been under the Health Services Board. But with the coming in of the Constitution, the 2013 Constitution, there were some laws which were in the Health Services Act that were not aligning with the Constitution. So there was a need to amend that the Health Services Act of 2005 to make sure that it aligns with the Constitution. So that's where the Health Service Amendment Bill came in. So there are some sections which are in the Health Services Act of 2005 which are being amended to make sure that they align with the Constitution. But not just that, they've also gone in to add some sections which most of the health workers are not happy about. So you'll see that there's been additions of sections, like one section which says that health workers are now part of, they are now being called essential services. and they are not allowed to go on strike for more than 72 hours. So you can't go on strike for more than 72 hours. You are actually going to be punished if you do that. There's also a section which says that if you are a member of any union or association and that association announces or goes on strike for more than 72 hours, you are also going to be punished by the law. So you see that there are some sections which are very punitive, which restricts the the health sector from participating in strikes, and it takes away that right of association. You know, in our constitution, we have a right to associate into any union. We have a right to demonstrate legally, but you see that all those things, all those rights are being taken away from the health sector with coming in of this amendment bill, if it becomes an act.
Yeah, so you mentioned a few important things, and the first one is that the bill now seeks to make health workers an essential service, where you are more like probably soldiers or police. You are there 24 hours. But the interesting part is where it says you can only go for an industrial action or protest for not more than 3 days. I remember in 2018, you guys went on for months. I think more than 30 days. You still did not get what you wanted. Do you think in 3 days you would have achieved what you want to achieve if you had to demonstrate for 3 days or protest for 3 days?
Definitely not. You see now that the bill, it correctly identifies health workers as essential services. Yes, I think the health force is actually very important, and health services are actually essential. But they just clarify us as essential services. But you see that in terms of the benefits that we would anticipate if someone is being identified as essential, it means those people are important, because without their services, the country won't move forward. Like in the health sector, people may actually die if that essential services is not provided. But you see in that bill, there isn't anything to recognize the health workers as essential in terms of remuneration, in terms of packages that they may try to offer. There isn't anything like that. It's just the punitive measures that are only outlined. And as you rightfully said, they said that we can't go on strike for more than 72 hours, but we have been going on strike for more than, the last time actually went for over 100 days. On strike, and the government, it seemed it was not even moved by that long-going strike. So they know that in 3 days we can't achieve anything in 3 days. So they can just wait for us to go on strike. They won't listen to our pleas, and they know that after 72 hours, legally we will not be able to continue with that strike. So it's a deliberate move to try and make sure that dissenting voices are being throttled, and it's not only in the health sector. I think people need to look at this bill collectively at what is happening in the country. I think the government is trying to make sure that all dissenting voices are quietened. People cannot actually challenge the government. You know, with the PVO bill, and now with the coming in of this health services amendment bill, it's trying to target every sector. Even the lawyers have also been targeted. The government have proposed that they may try to amend the Law Society or the Law Society of Zimbabwe. So you see that everyone who tries to challenge the government is coming on with laws, with some amendments to try and make sure that our voices are actually being throttled.
Yeah, you mentioned the issue of benefits or the recognition that if you are essential service, then you expect the package to actually reflect that you are essential service. What are the working conditions currently of the health workers? What would you say is the areas that you want the government to look at?
Definitely, there is the issue of remuneration. That's the most important thing. I think in the GNU era, and even up to around 2016, government doctors were earning around $1,400 for a middle-level doctor, which we call a government medical officer. They were earning around $1,400. And currently, they are earning around 200 US dollars equivalent. So you see that the remuneration have actually gone down. We are now earning less than the poverty datum line, you see. So people are not earning enough to sustain their everyday expenses. That is number one. But in addition to that, there are also the working conditions. We have seen a lot of health worker migration at the moment. You saw about 2 days ago there was an article in the government in the newspapers saying that almost about 50% of the nurses have left their posts. So with that, it comes stressful working conditions. You know, long hours. People are being overburdened. The doctor-patient ratio, the nurse-patient ratio is actually very, very high in the public sector. So that also, and then also there is also the absence of essential medicines and equipment. So you know, you are a doctor, you prescribe some medications, but those medications are not available. You want to do a procedure, but the equipment is often broken down. Right now, all the radiotherapy machines in the country, they are down. So maybe you are a doctor working at the cancer center, you can't actually offer that services to your patients. So in addition to remuneration, there is something that people need to know, that even if you are not paid, but also the working conditions that you need, you have a services that you can offer, but you can't do that because of lack of resources. So you end up having people dying unnecessarily. Avoidable deaths are happening on your watch. So people actually decide to leave just based on that. So those are some of the things that we see: the issue of remuneration, issue lack of essential medicines, lack of equipment, and also a burnout due to stress and due to long working hours.
Yeah, these are the issues that I guess government should be looking at. But looking at this bill, it says that the health or the health services will now be given a status of a commission rather than a board. What does that mean? Does that change the working conditions of a doctor?
All right, yeah. So actually, the Health Services Board that has been there since 2005, it actually did not. It was mandated to address the challenges that we were facing. Like, as I said, mainly the issue of health worker migration, the issue of perennial strikes in 2005. But you see that for the past 17 years that the board has been in place, they failed to address those things because we still have those challenges. People are still migrating to look for greener pastures. People are still going on strike every day. So the board has not been useful. It has not met its mandate. And one of the things, one of the weaknesses of the board that we thought made it unable to address the challenges was the issue that the board was not independent. The board, maybe if the board was not independent, the members of the board were appointed actually by the minister. So we think that they actually had allegiance to the appointing authority, the minister, rather than to the health workers themselves. So, and then also, even if we had those bipartite meetings where we discussed the issue of the challenges, the issue of the salaries, the board did not have the authority to approve salaries. They had to go to the Minister of Finance and try to get treasury concurrence, treasury agreements to make sure that salaries are increased. So we actually pushed for a commission, just like the Judicial Services Commission, because the commission is sort of independent. They can make independent decisions. But the proposed commission that is coming in, it still has some of the weaknesses that we had with the Health Services Board. For example, in the proposed commission, if you are to increase salaries, you have to get approval from the president, you have to get approval from the Minister of Finance. So the commission will still not have enough powers to make binding decisions. We also saw that the commissions, the appointments of members of the commission, it also is from the president. The president is the one who makes the appointments after consulting the Minister of Health. So we see that these appointments are not good, because we actually thought that the appointments should be by credibility, and these should be parliament parliament made decisions, where people actually go in front of maybe the Parliamentary Committee on Health, they have interviews, and then people are appointed by their credibility. But you see now that it comes from the president, who is going to appoint the power. So you see that members of the commission may actually be biased, because they may be allegiance to the appointing authority, which is the president.
You are currently, holding more like consultative meetings, information sharing platforms with your members to explain what the bill says. What's the reaction from your members? What are they saying?
People are actually angry about this bill. The emerging theme from all the consultative meetings that we are saying is that the health workers are not happy at all. People are just saying this bill should not see light of day. This bill should not be enacted. So the health workers, these are the custodians of our health here in Zimbabwe. And they are not happy about this bill. And we think that these are the people that we need to listen to. These are the people that the parliament needs to listen to, because they are the people who are the driving force of the health force. So you see now that what is happening right now is that health workers are making complaints about the challenges they are facing. And instead of addressing those complaints, the government is just trying to bulldoze themselves, or just trying to be a bully, to say that we are not going to address the challenges, but we are going to play to our tune. So the end result is not good for the Zimbabwean citizens and for the Zimbabwean health sector, because right now we talk of the Geneva Convention, which is like which has replaced what we usually called the Hippocratic Oath from way before. And one of the main things that arises from the Geneva Convention is that health workers need to be taken care of in order of them to take good care of their patients. So if you don't take good care of your health workers, you are going to have a frustrated health worker. You are going to have a burnout, stressed health worker, and they are not going to offer good services, and the outcomes are going to be bad. The mortality will increase, the morbidity will increase, and people will look for other avenues to live. Even if you try to stop people from migrating, there are always channels for people to live. Right now, every nurse that I meet in the hospital, it's either they are on their way leaving or they are planning to leave. So it's not a good sign. This health services bill will actually make things worse. Things are actually worse as it is at the moment. And if this thing is enacted, I'm sure the situation is going to be more worse.
I've heard so many complaints about service people are getting in hospitals. Either you have to personally pay the doctor or the nurse to attend to you. They will take long hours. You scream of pain and they will ignore you. I mean, what can be done to make sure that nurses and doctors are also, offer the good service that people look forward to?
Yeah, so I've also heard a lot about these things. People always complain that nurses, doctors in public hospitals, they are bad people or things like that. But as a health worker myself, this job that we do is something that we actually have a lot of passion for it. All right, it's not like you are taught to be bad in medical school or in a nursing school. People actually go to work with good intentions. It's actually quite heartening to actually save lives. Saving lives actually comes with a very good feeling that you have, that I've actually saved people's lives today and things like that. But it's actually the nature of the working conditions that we have. As I told you, most people have left the country. You are left with attending, if you go to outpatients, you actually see more than 300 patients in one day as a single doctor. Sometimes, especially in the provincial and the district hospitals, you are seeing a lot of patients per day. You are the only person there. You don't have even have the resources to do the job. So it actually affects people's mental health as well. And it ends up happening that you can't address all those challenges alone in the hospitals. So yeah, I know that sometimes it comes with long waiting, but for example, Sometimes you are the only doctor alone at a district hospital. You are covering all the areas. You are covering emergencies. You are covering outpatients. You are covering casualty. You are covering the labor ward. So someone may come to casualty. You are in labor ward. They don't know that you are in labor ward. They just think the doctor is away. They wait for 3 hours and then they say the doctor doesn't come. But you are maybe attending an emergency, a pregnant woman who has an emergency somewhere there. So those are the challenges. I think our government needs to be serious, especially in terms of investing in health. I think all these problems are emanating from the fact that our healthcare sector is poorly funded. Since 2001, we signed the Abuja Declaration where we committed to give 15% of the national budget to healthcare. But we have never met that goal since 2001. 21 years now, we have not met it. Last year, they said we have allocated 14.5%, but if you look closely, it wasn't even 14.5%. It was actually about 11%. And even that 11%, it's not real money. It's just a figure that they propose. And that money doesn't even get to the hospitals. In the 2020 budget, we actually reached the end of the year with only 40% of the money that was proposed in the budget having been delivered to the hospitals. So there is serious lack of funding in the government. Our health sector is donor dependent. So without money, we can't do anything. So all these problems only comes from poor financing of the health sector. We need to make sure that we give a lot of money into the health services, especially in the national budget, and make sure that that money is actually delivered to the hospitals for us to provide meaningful services.
What I've realized in Zimbabwe is most of the times when these laws come and they are, proposed laws come and they are looking at a particular sector, people will tend to say, no, it's for the health workers. It has nothing to do with me. This is an NGO bill. It's for the NGOs or it's for the lawyers. Yet they don't look at the bigger picture. That at the end of the day, even if the law is targeted at the doctors, if the doctor is frustrated, his rights are not respected, you are the one who's going to suffer. Same with NGOs, same with lawyers. What are you doing to create awareness? What can people do to make sure that they are with you in lobbying for this, so that this law does not, or this bill does not pass?
Yeah, I think this is a very important point that you raised. It's not only about the bills and the laws, but also even about the general issues that they come. Teachers come out, they go on strike, talk about their grievances. The health sector will just look aside. It's about the teachers. It's not about us. And then when we also go on strike as the health sector, the people will also look aside and say, I'm not a health worker, so I'm not affected. So it also comes again to this amendment bill. Of course, this amendment bill, it directly affects healthcare workers, but it also affects the population, because it's not only the healthcare worker that is going to be frustrated, but you've talked about people going to hospitals and waiting for long hours, not seeing nurses, not seeing doctors. So at the end of the day, if this bill comes on and people start migrating out of the country, it's the villager in Lotito who is going to be affected, because they are not going to see a nurse on their clinic, they are not going to see a doctor. So these issues need to be taken holistically. When the government passes a PVO bill, it's not only targeting the NGOs. We should see that it's targeting any voice that tries to challenge the government. So right now, it's the health sector which is being targeted. But you should need to know that if we allow the government to get away with these bills for the health sector and for the NGOs, you are next in line. If you are a teacher, if you are a lawyer, if you are a farmer, next time you try to raise your voice against the challenges that you are facing, they are going to say, just like we did with the doctors, we can also create another bill to deal with these people. So the public needs to know that they are not only supporting doctors if they come out to oppose this bill. They are not supporting doctors, they are not supporting nurses, but they are actually doing this for themselves as well. First of all, to make sure that the health service is in good shape, and secondly, to make sure that we do not set a precedent, because if we just set a precedent that the government can just create a bill to stop dissenting voices, then it means that any other sector will also face similar challenges in the future.
Finally, I mean, what measures are you putting in place? Are you meeting parliamentary committees? Are you going to be going to court? What are you doing to make sure that you really protect your rights as enshrined in the Constitution?
Okay, first of all, we are doing information disseminating sessions with health workers. So we are trying to explain to them what this bill is about. You know, these sections that are there, they are in, you know, legal jargon, which us as health workers might not be able to fully understand. So we have got lawyers who are actually trying to explain to health workers what exactly this bill means, so that people have a full understanding of the implications of this bill. So we are also encouraging our members to actually attend the parliamentary portfolio on health public meetings that are going to be held from the 14th to the 18th of March. So we are encouraging our membership to actually go there, give their points to the parliamentary committee. We have also tasked different organizations, you know, Zimbabwe Nurses Association, Pharmacists Association, Hospital Doctors Association, to actually write to the Clerk of Parliament and submit their position in terms of this bill. And we have also been encouraging, we've been holding radio programs also talking about this bill, so that even the public may attend those public gatherings by the parliamentary portfolio. But the goal is to make sure that this bill should not be enacted, because this bill is I think it will make the health sector, the challenges will actually increase if this bill is enacted.
Thank you very much. That was Dr. Norman Matara, Secretary General, Zimbabwe Association of Doctors for Human Rights, and we were talking about the services, health services amendment bill, which seeks to make quite a number of changes. A number of people that I've talked about, have written or commented on this bill, say the bill is a threat to employees' rights as well as service delivery. So it's really sad that the Second Republic that was celebrated so much in 2017 is working very fast to go past the Mugabe standards in coming up with ridiculous laws that are closing every gap and every freedom that the people have. So I hope that the society at large, Zimbabweans at large, are going to lobby their MPs to make sure that such laws are not finally passed. Because in Zimbabwe, what we lack, like I said before, is solidarity. We look at each other as sectors. No, the law is for the health workers, so it doesn't affect me. The law is for the nurses or the lawyers, it doesn't affect me. The bottom line is that if government succeeds in making sure that they silence one sector of society, they will end up coming for you as well. But we've seen that in the last 2 years or so, the space is closing, democratic space is closing. We've seen laws coming up targeting, the lawyers, the students, the health workers, the NGOs, the human rights defenders, the journalists. The aim is to make sure that the freedoms that you're enjoying now, you don't. The aim is to make sure that you don't speak out when you see wrong. You should be a yes man or a yes lady and just let these comrades rule until they enjoy, until they are tired, until they die, without anyone saying to them, but what you're doing is wrong. I think we really need to remind our leaders that we have constitutions that we respect and that they are there to make sure that the effort that is being spent in coming up these laws should be actually being spent in giving the service delivery and fulfilling the 2018 promises that were made. It's very easy to make promises, but then go on to make laws that make sure that people don't question you of the promises that you made and you never fulfilled. My name is Zenzel Ndebele. Till we meet again in other programs, have a good day.